Katarina's garage. My name is Katarina Lloyd, and as you can see, well, I am here with my 81 Mustang, and she has her summer wheels on her. But there's a problem. Actually, there was a few problems this past week with the car. So, something, if you hadn't seen some of my updates on it, I had melted plugs in the car, which I threw them out, but there's going to be pictures at the beginning of the video to show those, and they were really, really bad. Yeah, especially cylinder number 1, which actually I've been having issues with cylinder number 1 in this car because of, well, the wire had 0 ohms of resistance, so I had to replace it, and then look at that. Once I replace it, the number 1 spark plug is the worst of them all, which, to a certain degree, it's a little understandable with the inline 6 engine if your number 1 and number 6 are probably going to be your worst spark plugs because of the design of an inline 6, where it does not get even distribution of fuel with the atomization of an inline 6 design, unless if you happen to have multiple carburetors or multiple throttle bodies or, you know, multiple injectors, right? The inline 6, it's a fantastic design, but you'll always have that issue where number 1 and number 6 are always going to be a little more lean. And now, it was running extremely rich, but that's because that was me. I was compensating for what I didn't realize at the time was plugs being melted, and instead I was just richening up the mixture just to try and get it to run, to get it back home to check it over. Because granted, could I have potentially stopped at an auto parts store in Calgary and while I was there with my dad and get spark plugs while I was there and change them in the parking lot? Sure, but I didn't know that was the problem. So that's one of those deals. And I don't like that. Okay, that's something that we'll have to look into. Sorry, there's a couple of satellite dishes, and the one is kind of in the wind doing this on top of our house. So, but anyways, like, so yeah, this car, because one of the problems it's having right now, and I'll show you actually, and explain why. So, I never thought this would be a problem, but when I think about it, it makes perfect sense. So I have these bigger tires on for summer. You know, the fronts are, I think they're 215 or 225 60-15s. The back is 275 60-15s. And the problem is, when I attempt, when I attempt to launch the car, it has a problem with it bogging. And now, and how to fix that? There's only a couple of ways to really fix that, to be honest. You could upgrade the power valve in the carburetor, which I don't know if that's really going to do anything. I could, because it could send more fuel. But, so you could do that. I already tried to advance the timing, and that didn't really change anything. The only other thing that you can really do is have it make more power. I'm not kidding. As funny as that sounds, to roll with these tires. Now, I can still drive with these tires just fine, but in first gear, if I launch it, I can't launch it. I have to kind of roll into it a bit, and then I can pin it. So, it's a little interesting, and it's fine. The car's definitely slower with these, but it gets way better fuel economy, and it looks a hell of a lot better too. So, I'm okay with that. And it's not like, I mean, I am a hot rodder, but I'm not a major hot rodder. I mean, hell, I have an inline 6 under the hood of this car. I have a T5 manual with 355s in the back. This thing makes maybe 110 wheel horsepower, you know? Like, it's not fast. For what it is, it moves pretty good. But it's not a fast car. And that's just one of these things. So, you know, with this car. And so I got to figure out ways to increase the power of this car in the future. And to be honest, as well, something I want to talk about. So when it melted the plugs, because I think I know what went wrong there. Because Autolite spark plugs are they're some of the cheapest plugs you can buy, to be honest. But they're typically pretty okay. However, if you have a hot coil like I do, which I'll show you under the hood, because I happen to have a Super SL coil in the car, and because I have that and trying to run the stock spark plugs, they just don't hold up. 5,000 kilometers, and because you can see it down here, it only had about 5,000 kilometers on those plugs, and they just melted. Not completely melted. They were still usable, kind of, but the car ran like absolute ass. But now, I mean, I can fire the car right up, and it's totally fine. Especially since right now it's like about 20 degrees outside. It's beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. And the car still sounds just as good. But you know, like I could. Because now I am thinking of, honestly, just going with getting that header built for this car. Once I have the header built, then we can, I think I'll definitely have enough power to actually run these tires properly. But, and this is the first start of the day, so you know, I just pump it 4 times, and just like that. Like, this thing is a super easy start, to be honest, especially when it's warm. It loves this type of weather. In fact, like, the cold idle that this carburetor has doesn't even function when it's this warm. It's quite nice, actually. So, I've had some other carburetors that aren't like that. And, you know, I mean, you're still getting really good fuel economy. And I can't wait, because not this coming week, but the week after, I'm taking her up to Edmonton for 2 things. One, I'm going to see Disturbed with my father, which will be fantastic. I absolutely love it. It's the first concert that I'll be taking him to. He's taking me to a couple. Now it's time to pay back, right? And then the Saturday is there's a dyno day up in Edmonton. And there is a car show in Calgary on the Sunday, but you have to pre-register for it, which I don't understand why they do that. You should have pre-register or be able to register at the gate, in my opinion, but it's totally fine. You know, there's only like their 3rd ever show putting on, so there's that. And even 1 year, actually, this happens to be the car club partner called No Boys Left. There you go. And like, it's just a little bit of cold idle, and I just kicked it down really quick. But like, if you just listen to that beautiful idle, right? Because people are surprised when they're behind this car. Now, I do want to put a cam in this as well, and that might be one of the next things that I do, is throw a cam in this car, and then put the header on it as well. And at that point, I know for sure it'll have enough power, guaranteed, to run these tires. Because that'll gain, so let's see, cam will probably gain about 10-ish horsepower and about 15-ish foot-pounds of torque, give or take, on the cam. Then, because I'm going to put a fairly hot cam in it, not super hot though, like, again, I will figure it out when I talk to like Clay Smith about that, Clay Smith cams, and as well, the header itself will gain about 30 to 40 horsepower, because it's going to be a long tube header that is so much better than what this cast iron manifold with this stupid collector down here is. Now, this is actually hollowed out already, so was kind of disappointed actually when we found out it was already hollowed out. And sadly, when I was cleaning this, my sticker is gone now. Unfortunately, it just peeled up and then it just got destroyed. So sadly, I no longer have the Sprint 200 sticker on top of my air cleaner. It's quite disappointing. But I'm actually just gonna leave it running because it's not loud. That's one nice thing. It's a very reserved for when you just want to drive it, but if you want a camera on it, this thing gets a little loud. So it's kind of a perfect setup. I would just like it to have a little bit more rumbly of a idle. Like I said, cam would do that. Something I want to showcase. So, if you remember, last summer, I had bought a few tools from Canadian Tire. And one of them is what's in this case. Now, this, I I was very excited to get because with how many old cars I deal with and try to revive, this is a very useful tool. And it happens to be a poroscope, right? It's a maximum, but the problem is, now I haven't taken it apart to look, but the battery itself doesn't hold a charge in this anymore. So I tried just to return it. Turns out they only have a year of warranty. I was 1 month out, spent $200 on this. It pissed me off a lot. But there should be a battery somewhere in here, because it should be a rechargeable system. That way, at least I thought it was, but maybe it's not. But again, it was $200, Canadian, not American. You know, so I do have a plan though, because if it needs to be plugged in all the time, if I can't just replace the battery down here, okay, well that's fine. I do have it's been charging for the past few days, so I'm just gonna have this, and basically when I'm using the boroscope, I'll just have it attached like this, and it's just gonna be like duct tape or something like that. Or just, you know, maybe even like a bungee cord or something, just so that I can remove it. So put it back in here. And oh, perfect, it fits right in the slot there too. Excellent, so that's what's gonna be used for this, and because I want to use this on the Fargo project, because I do want to pop the spark plugs out and take a look down the cylinders to see what's what in that motor. See, is it screwed? Which it hasn't, it's been off the road since the 70s, that much I do know. But other than that, it's just where it is at the moment. Like, it's a very cool truck, and if you haven't seen the video, go check it out actually. But that's coming up next on my channel. I'm going to be filming a video next week on the Fargo. I'll probably start to work on that tomorrow. If I don't finish my dad's headlights that I've been restoring for the past couple of days today. So, anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, though, please like the video, comment down below, subscribe, all that different stuff. YouTube tells us to do that, and apparently it helps. So, every little bit helps me to give you guys further content. Anyways, hope you're staying safe during COVID-19. Good luck with whatever we're working on, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye! We kept it!